this is Aya from Tip Tops. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this knit heart. It's kind of large. So we're gonna knit in a garter stitch, or we're just gonna keep on knitting, but we're gonna increase on some sides and decrease on others to form the heart. We're gonna start from this one side, moving on to the other. So the yarn that I'll be using is called Alize Superlana Maxi, and I'll be using a 9mm, it's going to be 8mm hook, which is size 11 US. And I'll start by leaving kind of a little long tail, and then I will make my knot. And I will start by casting on 7 stitches. This was my first. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And it still have long tail, so I'm just going to fold it into 2 and make a knot, so it will be easier to work. The website that I'm using the pattern from is called oddknit.com, and I'll put the link in the description box below. So for row 1, I'm gonna knit all 7 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. I'm using kind of a thick yarn because I want the size of the heart to be kind of big. But of course, if you use thinner yarn, you're going to have a smaller heart. For row 2 till row 4, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to cast on 2 and then knit the rest, okay? So this means that I'm going to increase in the first 2 stitches. So I'm just going to, you can use any method of increasing, but this is the one that I will use. I really don't remember the name, but I'll show you how it's done. So I'm going to knit my first stitch. I'm not going to pull this off my needle. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to bring my right needle to the back of the stitch that I have on my left needle and knit another stitch. So I will have 2 on my right needle, and then I'm going to slip this one. I'm going to repeat this with the second stitch as well. So I'm going to knit normally, and then bring my right needle to the back of the stitch and knit again. Then I can slip this off my left hook. So now I've got 4 stitches on my right needle. Okay, then I will knit till the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the total of stitches I have will be 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Row 3 will be exactly the same. Going to increase. First stitch, increase on the second stitch as well. Then I'll knit the rest of my stitches. So I'm supposed to have 11 stitches on my needles. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. For my 4th row, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to knit, but increasing. and the total of stitches I'll be having will be 13. You can use straight needles instead of circular, but it's easier for me to use circular needles for the video, and usually this is what I use. Okay, so on row 5, we're only going to increase once. Okay, row 5 to 7, I'm going to increase only once. So this is my increase stitch. Then I'm going to knit the rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So number of stitches will be 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Row 6 will be exactly the same. Just going to increase once. And then I will knit the rest. On row 7, just going to increase once, one more time. Just within my first stitch. And number of stitches I'm supposed to be having will be 16 after row 7. Row 8, I'll be knitting all stitches, so there's no increase at all. Okay, row 9 till 11, what I'm going to do is that I will increase one stitch with my with the first stitch, and then I will knit the rest. So row 9, 10, and 11 will be increasing only one stitch, casting on one stitch in the beginning of your row, and then you're going to knit the rest. And by the end of row 11, you're going to have 19 stitches. So I just finished row 11. This is how it's supposed to look. On row 12, we're just going to knit the whole row with no increase at all. 1, and number of stitches will still be 19. Okay, and when I looked up cast on one, there are several different ways to do that, so I just used the increase way. But some people just put one more stitch on the needle and knit it to from the left needle to the right needle. So you can use any method. Okay, we're done with row 12. I'm gonna start row 13. On row 13, we're going to cast on one or increase one. So we're gonna increase one stitch on our beginning stitch and then knit the rest of the stitches. So we're gonna have a total of 20 stitches. Row 14, 15, and 16, we're just gonna knit all stitches. So there's no increase, number of stitches will also be 20. So I'm gonna work from 14 to 16 and come back on 17. Okay, so row 17, we'll be casting on one or increasing one in the beginning stitch. And then knitting the rest of my row. And number of stitches will be 21. Row 18 will be knitting all stitches, so number of stitches will still be 21. Gonna come back on row 19 to work 19, 20, and 21 with you guys, because we're gonna increase and decrease. Okay, starting row 19. So we're gonna increase one stitch and then knit the rest of the row. So number of stitches will be 22. Okay, on row 20, we're going to cast off one and knit the rest. So what I'm going to do with casting off is that I'm going to, because this is the best way for me, I'm going to knit the first 2 stitches and then get the first one here and slip it off the other one. Okay, so I decreased by 1 stitch. Of course, you can use any cast off method, it's fine, whatever is easier for you. And then we're gonna knit the rest of the row. So number of stitches will be 21. Moving on to row 21, we're going to cast on one and knit the rest of the stitches. Okay, I'm going to increase 1 stitch and then knit the rest of the row. And number of stitches will be 22. And then I'll be working row 22, which will be only knit. So we're going to knit all stitches, and total of stitches will be 22. And I'll be back on row 23 and working with you till 28. So after row 22, this is how it's supposed to look. Okay, it's kind of shaping as a heart. On row 23, we're going to increase 1 stitch and knit the rest of the stitches. So number of stitches will be 23. So I'll be doing all these rows till 28 on camera, because I don't want you guys to get confused with any rows. We're done with 23 and working on 24. So on 24, we're going to cast off 2 stitches. So we're gonna, what I do for casting off, casting off, not on, 2 stitches. So I'm removing 1 stitch, and this is the second stitch. Okay, and then we're gonna knit till the end of the row. Number of stitches will be 22. We're gonna count them after finishing all stitches. Row 25, we're going to cast on 1 stitch, which means we're going to increase 1 stitch and then knit the rest of the row. We're just going to increase 1 and knit the rest. So number of stitches will be 22 after finishing this row. On row 26, we're going to cast off 2, which means that we're going to decrease 2 stitches or remove 2 stitches. This is the first one. This is the second one. And then we're going to knit till the end of the row. Number of stitches will be 20. For row 27, we're going to cast on 2 stitches and knit the rest. So this is how it looks like so far. I'm sorry, I can't show you on camera while I'm working. So here's the curve of the heart, and here's the tip of the heart. So we're going to cast on 2, which means we're going to increase on my first stitch and increase on the second stitch as well. Okay, so I've increased 2, and I'm going to knit till the end of the row. Number of stitches will be 22. And for row 28, we're only going to knit all stitches. So number of stitches will also be 22. There's no increase or decrease at all. So at this point, we have reached the middle of the heart. Okay, so we will be working starting row 29 till 54 for the second part of the heart. So I'm gonna work row 28 off camera and come back on row 29. So starting row 29, just want to show you how it's gonna look like after row 28. This is how it looks like. So we've shaped the first half of the heart, and you can see the curve here. So on row 29, we're going to cast off 2 stitches. So this is 1, and this is number 2. And we're going to knit till the end of the row. So number of stitches that I'll be having will be 20 stitches. So basically what we're doing is that we're working opposite what we worked before, or backwards. Row 30, we're going to cast on 2 stitches and knit the rest of the row. Cast on or increase first stitch and the second one. And then knit the rest. So number of stitches will be 22. So I just want the video to be shorter. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to knit to the end of the row, come back on 31, and so on. Can you see the tip of the heart? So it's beginning to show. On row 30, on row 31, we're going to cast off 1 stitch. So we're going to knit 2 stitches, slip this one off of the other one. And number of stitches, I'm going to knit the rest of the row, and number of stitches after finishing row 31 will be 21 stitches. Okay, we're working row 32. We're going to cast on 2 stitches. This is the first one, and this is the second one. And then we're going to knit till the end of the row. Number of stitches will be 23 stitches. For row 33, we're going to cast off 1 stitch, and then we're going to knit the rest of the stitches. So we're going to knit 2. This is 1, 2, slip 1 from the other. So we did cast off 1 and then knit the rest. And the number of stitches will be 22 stitches. For row 34, I'm going to work it off camera. We're going to knit the whole row. So there's no increase, there's no casting off, no decrease, nothing. So number of stitches will stay 22. This is how it looks so far. The lighting is not so good. So on row 35, we're going to cast off 1 and knit the rest of the stitches. And number of stitches will be 21 stitches. So let's cast off 1 stitch. We're going to work 2 stitches, or knit 2 stitches, and then slip 1 on top of the other. And then knit the rest of the row. row 36, we're going to cast on 1, so we're going to increase 1 stitch. Of course, it's the beginning stitch, or the first stitch that I've got, and then I will knit the rest of my row. Number of stitches will be 22 stitches. On row 37, we're going to cast off 1 stitch and then knit the rest of the stitches. Said a cast off, okay. Cast off and then knit the rest. Number of stitches are going to be 21. On row 38, we're going to knit all stitches. No increase, no casting off, no decrease. So number of stitches will stay the same. They will be 21. So I'm going to do row 38 off camera and come back on row 39. For row 39, we're going to cast off 1 stitch and knit the rest. Number of stitches will be 20 stitches. For row 40, 41, and 42, we're only going to knit, so number of stitches will stay the same, which will be 20 stitches. I'm going to work 40, 41, and 42 off camera because it's just going to be all knit, and come back on row 43 to work the rest. This is how it looks so far. Almost done with it. On row 43, we're going to cast off 1 and knit the rest of the stitches. And number of stitches will be 19 stitches. Row 44 will be only knit, so the number of stitches will stay 19. Gonna do a row 44 off camera and come back on row 45. Row 45, we're gonna cast off 1 the beginning stitch. I'm sorry, we're gonna cast off, I'm sorry. I was increasing, so we're gonna knit 2, then slip this over the other, and knit the rest. So number of stitches will be 16 stitches. On row 46 and 47, we're gonna do exactly the same thing. I'm gonna do it with you on camera. So this was row 45. Cast off again, first stitch, and then gonna knit the rest. I'm sorry, on row 45 it was like only 18 stitches. On this one we're gonna have 17 stitches. This is how it looks. For 47, we're going to cast off 1 stitch again. And knit the rest. So this time number of stitches will be 16. For row 48, we're going to knit all stitches, and number of stitches will stay 16. I'm going to do this row off camera. This is how it looks like so far. On row 49, 50, and 51, we're going to cast off one and knit the rest. So this is row 49. Cast off one stitch and knit the rest. So we're going to be having only 15 stitches. On row 50, so I just finished 49, which is casting off one and knitting the rest, and number of stitches will be 15. Okay, for row 50, we're going to cast off one there we go, and knit the rest of the stitches. Number of stitches will be 14. For row 51, we're going to cast off one stitch as well, and knit the rest. So number of stitches will be 13. So in the pattern that I'm going to put in the description box or under the video, on row 54, it's gonna it's not totally gonna cast off because this pattern is designed for having several hearts connected to each other, every single heart having different color. So I'm just gonna change stuff on row 54 or 56 because this is the first time I do this heart or work this pattern on the video while recording. So we're gonna work this out together. So let's see how many stitches we have. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we're done with row 51. We're gonna do row 52. We're gonna cast off 2 stitches. So we're gonna knit 2, slip 1, knit 1 again, and slip 1 again. So we were able to cast off 2 and knit the rest of the row. Number of stitches will be 11, and we're going to count them just to make sure. Two, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. For row 53, we're going to do the exact same thing. We're going to cast off 2 stitches and knit the rest. 1 stitch, we're supposed to have 9 stitches, and we're going to knit the rest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. For row 54, what we're going to do is that we're going to cast off 2 stitches, so we will be having and knitting the rest, and we will be having 7 stitches. Okay, so let me just go back to row 1 and see. So on row 1 we knitted 7 stitches, and then on row 2 to 4 we casted on 2 stitches, which is exactly the opposite of row 52 to 54. So we're going to decrease on row 54 2 stitches. To have 7 stitches on our needles. Just a minute. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And on row 55, I'm going to cast off all stitches. So, because this is how it looks like right now, I'm gonna knit 2, slip 1 on top of the other, knit the next one, do the same thing till I only have 1 loop on my hook. So basically I'm casting off. There are several ways to cast off. You can choose any one of them. And I'm gonna get my scissors. I'm gonna leave a long tail, because what I want to do is that most probably I'm just gonna show you how to turn it into a pillow, a heart pillow, for a next video, not this video. So I will be sewing 2 pieces together, so I need a long tail. So this was my last stitch. Gonna pull my thread through the loop, and then I'm gonna pull it tightly, and this is how my cast off looks like, and this is how the heart looks like. So if I fold it into half, they will be identical. Okay, so this was how to make a heart using garter stitch or knit stitch all along. And thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And see you in the next video.